Hello, can you
Great.
hear me?
Yes, I hear you. How about here?
I can hear you just fine. Where are you
Great.
located?
Right now, I am in Bondi Beach, Australia.
Oh, okay. I have been talking to so many people from Australia lately. It's been crazy.
Really?
It's like it's something's going on down there because number one is California, number two is Australia,
Hmm.
and I did over 600 sessions last year, and a large percent of them were Australia. So it's
Interesting.
very interesting. How are you, Rob?
I'm I'm happy. It's interesting that YouTube is now actually responding to me. It's like that's my experience. It's like it's this guy on the. Yes, that's pretty neat.
It's kind of weird, huh? Got an odd
Right.
sensation.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to meet you, Rob. And you call
Thank
yourself
you.
Barefoot Rob. What's that about?
Yes. Well, I started walking barefoot in my university days just because I like it, and it's been become part of my way of being.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah.
I grew up in a beach resort, and when I was my kid is a kid and through teenagers, we never had shoes on, never,
Mm,
ever.
hmm.
We would walk into walk miles and miles across asphalt roads and
Yeah.
everything, and had up with calluses on the bottom of your feet like soles of your
Right.
shoes.
Absolutely.
It's the best.
Yeah, I walked across Japan a couple years ago. Most I have about half barefoot, and that was quite a fun challenge.
Wow, that must have been
Yeah.
fascinating. I've never been, that's one country
Yeah.
I've not made it to. I've been to 30 countries, but I haven't been to Japan yet.
Hmm. Hmm.
Actually, technically, I haven't been to the Orient except for like Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan, right next to Mongolia. They're kind of
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I've been there, but I haven't been like
I have a couple of friends from Mongolia, really beautiful
okay,
people.
yeah, beautiful people. Met beautiful people all over the world,
Yeah,
everywhere I've
absolutely.
been, and I think it's what you bring with you.
Hmm.
Who you are when you
Yes,
go, and if you're going there in a loving and caring way, you're going to get that in return.
right.
Totally believe that.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me tell you about how this process usually goes with Barefoot.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm
so
ready.
an hour before I do one of these sessions, I sit down and I write your name on top of a sheet of paper,
Mm.
and I exhale and I just listen. And
Hmm.
whatever comes in my head, I just write down on paper. It kind of
Hmm.
looks like this.
Hmm.
Um, I never judge it because if I judge it, I'll screw it up,
Hmm.
right? And I never read it again until I read it to the person because
Hmm.
I I don't want to have a preconceived notion before I talk to you.
Hmm.
And the other thing is that as I read this to you, you might see me making funny faces or something. I want
Okay.
you to know I'm not having a spiritual experience. What's happening is I'm not
Just
able to
trying to read your
read my
handwriting.
damn handwriting. That's right.
I got it.
It's exactly right. It's exactly
That's
right.
hilarious.
Well, it's weird because the words come in slowly at first and they get faster and faster and faster.
Hmm.
And so by the time I get to the bottom of the page, I'm playing catch up. And
Right.
then it just goes bam and stops. And it,
Oh,
and it's like,
man.
okay, that's kind of shocking. So I wrote Barefoot Rob on the top of this page because that's what you
Mm,
declared yourself to be.
good.
So here we go. You ready?
Yes.
There is no path ahead. The path is formed behind you as you place your foot. Where you place it is up to you. Asking for help is placing your foot in lack. And so lack is what you experience. You and God/universe are one and interconnected. You are the inspiration. God is the paint, the paintbrush, and the canvas. And I've said that before.
Hmm.
Nothing goes on the canvas without your thoughts, words, and deeds. You start the creation by declaring it into your now. It's your choice to receive. Until you believe you are, you sit in lack. Let go of asking an external God and start declaring from your oneness with God. Declaring in full faith that it is happening. Declaring in full faith that it is happening. Your part is to declare and welcome it into your present. Take the next step. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I have heard several of those ideas on your channel, and the it does bring to mind a question that still arises of what's I started the quote. The quote ends, until I turn the path back to myself.
Yes,
Like,
yeah,
and
that's
so,
from one of my regressions.
right.
Yeah,
And I'm wondering, it's an unanswerable question. Like, it's like a cone for you. Like, what does that look like or feel like? Maybe the question, but
yeah, yeah. Well, let me come at it from a different perspective.
yes. Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to give you an analogy as a foundational stone so we can go from there.
Okay.
So imagine if you took a boat and you anchored it in the middle of a river. Okay. So
Hmm.
now that boat is stationary, but the water's flowing by it.
Yes.
So behind the boat, there's a wake, there's a swirl, there's motion in the water because of the boat. And
Yes.
100 feet in front of the boat, there's no shape in the water at all. It's just
Right.
water. That water comes down, hits the bow of that boat, and it parts and it creates the shape of a boat.
Hmm.
You're standing in the boat. Okay. The water is the substance of the universe that your experience is made from. It's the matter, it's the atoms. The motion of the water towards the boat is time coming towards you. You're not going through it. The
Hmm.
motion and swirl behind the boat is the result of all your present moment thought, words, and actions. And your boat is what you believe about the present moment, the shape of your boat. And you can
Hmm.
believe that you're in a boat and you're asking for the Coast Guard to come get you, or you can believe you're in the boat sailing your three-masted schooner with a margarita in hand,
Hmm.
right? But it's when you're asking ahead, what you're actually thinking about the present moment, which is the shape of your boat, is that you're lacking and you need help.
Hmm.
So it comes down to this idea that what do I believe about this present moment precisely? You know, in the Bible, it says, whatever you ask in God's name is granted if you have faith.
Hmm.
Moses said God's name was I am, not I will be, or not I was,
Hmm.
or not if someone else brings it to me, right? It literally is stepping into that divinity, that creation mode, realizing, as this thing says, and I said this in an interview somewhere, because which is interesting, it's written here, you are the inspiration, God is to paint the paintbrush and the canvas. But nothing does go on that canvas with the paint and the paintbrush until you start the inspiration, until you declare it. But what most people don't realize is that other element of that analogy is the water's coming to the boat. You're not going through the water, it's coming to you. So it's a matter of saying, I declare here, and it shows me what I declare. So my favorite word of all time is receiving. I am joyfully receiving. I am happily receiving. I am wonderfully receiving,
Yeah.
right? Because that
I,
means something's coming into my experience.
hmm.
Does that make sense? I saw the
Well,
smile.
yes, I think so. Since I started, I registered for this session 7 months ago, and I've been consuming a lot of content. I laughed my ass off. I was like, okay, good job, John. You
Let me
said
tell you.
something that speaks to
Let me tell you
people.
about that because
Yeah,
that ties right into what we're talking about right now.
right.
So last February, did you see the second interview with
Yeah, yeah.
Alex?
I saw that, and I saw
You know
the
the whole
that
story. You know the whole story of it,
right.
right?
But so my point, I have my diary is full of thank you God for the XYZ I am receiving.
Yeah. Do you believe it?
And I see it happening regularly.
Yeah.
And my, I've often focused on this, I'm wondering about this question, what do I believe?
Yeah.
And like, hearing you repeatedly say it's coming down to belief from the blind man could feel the mud, or
Yeah.
the woman who believed her jaw could be healed by,
And to be even more specific about it,
yeah,
it's what you believe about this precise moment.
this precise moment.
This precise moment. I am.
Yes.
If I'm saying, please bring me. That means I am believing it's not here now.
Right.
I am receiving means that it is happening in the now. It's coming in. You'll start to see more evidence of it. Does that make sense?
I I believe so. There's that word
Yeah.
released again.
Yeah. But what's so cool about it is that once you really get it, everything gets really easy. I jokingly say that, I think of the world as my Amazon.com. I just put my order in. I don't care how it gets here. It just shows up on my doorstep. Right. But it's true. Everything I ask for, I get. Right. I'm not greedy. I only get the things that I decide that I need or want now in the
Right.
now. And I say, I am receiving that, and it happens. Right. But it's a matter of just going, I don't feel lacking because I know I can have anything. But I also know I don't want a bunch of stuff in my life because that just clutters my life, right?
Yeah, I just saw your video from 9 days ago, the purging
Urge to
and
purge.
right.
It
You
feels so good to purge too.
that okay. Here's a thing I wrote. So it's like let go of the past and the present, and also prep for my son's graduation in a few years from now. And there's finding the balance of
I am joyfully receiving all I need for my son to have an amazing graduation a few years from now. I mean that's a simple turnaround. You can say, well, I want to make sure I have all these things, right? But let's go to the story of the water and the wine, okay?
yes.
Mom says, hey, they're out of wine. Jay says, Mom, come on, it's not time yet, right? Then he turns around, he says, put water in those jugs, place those jugs over there where they collect wine. And there was wine, right? He understood wine was coming into the experience. He just started doing all the things in alignment with wine. So he wasn't expecting it to just all magically happen in a way. He had his part in the process too.
That's part of what I do is magically. It's like I'm just going to meditate money into my life kind of thing as opposed to taking actions.
Yeah, but sometimes the way God, universe, consciousness, whatever, I call it God because my mom was Catholic. Sometimes they give you it directly. Sometimes they give you a pathway. And I'll give you an example. When I first started my YouTube channel, I was trying to do live streams. And I was using a 2013 MacBook, right? That was not built for live streaming in any way, shape. I could make videos on it all day long, but it was not built for live streaming. And I got to the point where I realized that if I kept doing live streams, I'd probably kill the computer and not be able to make videos. And so I said to my audience, I said, I'm going to stop doing live streams for a while until I can get another computer. And I got off and I said, thank you, God, for the abundant income I am receiving to buy a new computer so I can continue to do live streams. Amen. That afternoon, I called my friend Holly. I said, hey, Holly, how are you? She says, I'm really busy today, John. What's up? I said, I was just checking in. What are you doing? She says, well, a friend of mine is crowdfunding a computer right now. Now, I just said I was getting the income to create a new computer. The next person I talked to says, I'm crowdfunding a new computer. So I'm like, okay, so that must be the pathway to use, right? So then I go, all right. I get off and I go on PayPal. Can you crowdfund through PayPal? Well, yes, you can. I did that. I put a video up saying, hey, guys, I want to let you know that I'm going to be crowdfunding a new computer so I can continue to do live streams. I said, this is the computer I'm looking at. These are the specs I need. I need to crowdfund $2,600. 2 days. 2 days, $2,600. Right. So when I heard that, the water that I put in my jugs was setting up the PayPal thing. So I believed it was going to work. And when information came to me, it was like, okay, that's the way. So I did that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And sometimes it just shows up in weird ways too. So,
Taking action in doing my part of things.
Yeah. Well, you think about thought, word, and deed, right? You know, a friend of mine and I decided to do a podcast a while ago, and it was kind of when I was first coming back to spirituality before I even had my YouTube channel really up and running, right? And I talked to this lady and I said, you know, we should do a spiritual podcast together. She said, okay. I said, all right, well, we'll just, I'll start setting it up. You don't have to worry about it. I'll handle it. Next day, I contacted her. I said, are you available to record on Friday? She said, what do you mean? I said, well, we have our Facebook page, our website, our logo, and I've already connected us to Buzzsprout and 25 podcast platforms. She said, you did what? I said, yeah, it's all ready to go. All you have to do is show up and record. She couldn't believe it. But I was like, oh, well, if I am doing this, then I am doing this. And so to me, it was, okay, this is happening. So if I believe it's happening, then these are the things I'm going to do. And I do them. You're an analytical man, aren't you?
Analytical?
Yeah.
Perhaps. I, I, I see myself having the most positive effect in the world as a listener. I call this term confidential listening.
Yeah, that's the best way.
And yeah, I've been in Japan for the past 20 years, except this month I'm with my girlfriend in Australia. And had these 12-year experiences from when I arrived in Japan to when I started a men's group was 12 years. And that men's group was where I could be seen and hold space for men, and the Through Mankind Project is creating a safe space.
Nice.
And from the time I got married, perfectly blessed, fantastic. And it was 12 years until we got divorced. And also perfectly blessed, and I received $14,000 in the process of being divorced, not from her directly, but from the experience. And we're good friends. I'm noticing these 12-year timelines, and it took me a while to let go of this guilt that, I wasted 12 years before I started the men's group in Japan. And now the group is going by itself, and I don't have to be there. It's a beautiful thing.
Right.
And so
is that a regret?
It was. Now I'm over it.
Okay,
but
good.
wanting to be more to do things more quickly, maybe it. But I do things slowly. What do
you want to create?
I want to create. I am writing a book called Slow Down.
Nice.
I've been doing it very slowly.
Nice.
And yet it's in progress. It's in creation. Yeah. I want to create, so I am joyfully creating my abundance through confidential listening and holding space for men and women. And the second one is not as easy for me to believe, the fear that can I step out and declare myself as this? Is one of the tricks there for me.
Why do you doubt you can, or you think you're not worthy?
More like think I'm not worthy. Yeah. Yes, I've been doing it for years as a volunteer. Yeah, no problem.
Right.
But to can we receive some abundance here?
Right. Can you receive abundance? That's an interesting question, because money is just a creation too.
Yes, and so I am receiving. I am receiving. I am receiving monetary abundance through my
Yeah.
heart-centered work.
And let me throw something in there that'll be really, that'll
I'm ready.
really kind of tweak it a little bit for you.
Yes.
I am joyfully receiving an opportunity to profoundly help people in amazing ways to empower themselves so they can find their own divinity within themselves. How's that sound?
That's beautiful.
Right. But it started with the word joyfully.
Joyfully, yes.
Because you don't want to go, you don't have to struggle with it. You don't have to, get in your head over it. You want to have it to joyfully happen. And what's interesting, you've already got, Barefoot Rob is such an amazing marketable thing. I mean, Barefoot Rob, the wandering philosopher, it's like you've got all this. There's so many things I could build YouTube channels around that all day long, right? But it's a matter of you deciding what you want to create. You know what I mean? What am I doing with that? You obviously are marketing yourself that way already by the fact that you said, I'm Barefoot Rob, right? And so I am God's name, Barefoot Rob. You are already giving yourself the label. Now, when I did corporate work a long time ago, it's a very interesting thing in corporate work as a motivational speaker. There's two types of speakers. There's topic speakers and there's rock star speakers. And the difference is one of them makes a living.
Interesting.
Right. And when I was a corporate speaker, I wasn't John Davis, the leadership speaker. I wasn't John Davis, the sales speaker. I was John Davis, the corporate action hero. And I used to go in and do whips and nunchucks. And when people wanted to have their event, they wanted to talk about leadership or sales, whatever. I could tie anything I'd talk about to what they wanted. And because of that, I ended up, and if you go on YouTube right now and just search corporate action hero, you'll find over 100 podcasts that I was the guest on.
Nice.
Yeah. But that is the key, is getting known. And you already have it. Barefoot Rob is already the rock star name. Right. And the question is, can you feel comfortable with it?
Yeah, it is a good question.
Yeah.
I have become comfortable with Barefoot Rob. I'm the only person in Tokyo who walks around barefoot, largely speaking. Yeah.
They don't take their shoes off till they go inside, right?
Right, exactly. And I've created walking events, and there's one that's been running for a couple of years, and excuse me, and yet I've just been asking for $5 per time, and a very minimal amount, so to speak.
That's the next thing is, do you have a belief around money?
Apparently.
Yeah.
I have enjoyed your stories, and I have at times received significant amounts of money. There's it's like I'm seeing so close, and you talked about the veil in one of the videos I saw recently, and I keep trying. And I know I'm watching my language as I say it. I'll just say it.
Yeah. Don't limit yourself. Keep going.
I keep trying to do the right thing and have the magic bean, and keep buying these different courses and stuff.
Yeah.
And
those are the pathways away from yourself.
And so then the path to myself is just I'm Barefoot Rob, but I don't believe that therefore money comes in. So maybe that's
I am joyfully receiving an abundant income through empowering people through my use of the name Barefoot Rob. Right now, if I was you, Rob, honestly, so you want to. So what's the goal? Are you going to create groups? Are you going to create these a bigger movement?
the goal that I have had for like to look back on my life and say, good job.
Yeah.
The goal, I love hearing gratitudes from people after I hold space and let them have an inner experience, a positive growth experience.
Right. Okay. So that's the goal is to help as many of those people come to that place of inner growth as possible, and have you be the impetus for it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So let me tell you exactly what I would do.
Yes.
I would have a YouTube channel right now, Barefoot Rob YouTube channel. I would have events, and and what I would do is I would probably start with just a video of me walking and talking about what I believe, and I would start putting out. You can empower yourself. Start talking about the things you want to help people to break through, and talk about and tie it into your barefoot walk. That barefoot walking is the most marketable tool ever. The only man and top video, only man who walks barefoot in Japan, right? Barefoot Rob, the only man who walked barefoot in Japan. And that title right there will get you millions of views. Then you say in your subtitle, in your text, you say, Rob is walking the earth like Caine in Kung Fu, right? right? Empowering people to step into their own strength or empower their own divinity, or however you would say it, right? But I would create that channel right off the bat, and I would just not worry about the videos being perfect, because they're not buying the video production. They're buying Rob,
right?
What Rob says. And then what I would do is I would just start putting those videos out. That's going to create a community. And then what you do is you contact people like Alex Ferrari and Shaman Oaks and these philosopher YouTube channels, if you like, and you say, I'm Barefoot Rob. I walk all over the world empowering people to step into their own divinity, or whatever however you'd say it. And then they start interviewing you on their channel. Right? Next thing you know, you've tapped into their audiences. Right? You've also got your website, barefootrob.com, and you've got your membership group on Patreon, barefootrob.com. Right? Right? and these are all the things that I would do, just like I started that podcast with that lady. And I'd have them done in a week. I'd go sign up for Weebly. I'd build my website by dragging and dropping, because you don't have to do any coding. It's just very simple. I would buy my domain name in Weebly, because then they'll do all their emails and everything.
Okay, I'll pause you on that. Barefootrob.com is not available. Okay. I have robnugent.com. I do have a YouTube channel with a lot of funny, silly videos. I don't think it's not branded as Barefoot Rob, though, per se, but I do. The channel exists. A channel exists that I control and I have content on. Okay. And I can certainly, I have thought about putting content out and haven't done it because of the perfection thing. Thank you for that little piece there. Yeah. And yeah, so
Sylvester Stallone wrote 36 of his movies that he was in. And when somebody asked him how he could be such a prolific writer, his exact words were, if you want to be a writer, you have to put something on paper. The first thing you write is going to suck, but you're going to edit it, you're going to hone it, you're going to learn how to write, and you're going to get better and better as you go. And I'll tell you, Rob, if you go back to the first videos on my YouTube channel, I thought I was being so professional with my green screen and my bricks that were the wrong size. And, I had red bricks behind me the size of cinder blocks, right? But because they're on a green screen. Yeah. And me, hi, I'm John. And I'm just like, now I'm like, whatever you say, I'm drinking coffee. I'm having a great old time. Right. The only reason I got so comfortable on camera is because I, number one, made a lot of videos, 1,400 of them. Right. The other thing is I cheat. So right now, I'm looking right at your eyes, aren't I?
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. So you're looking at a camera, apparently. I'm looking at a teleprompter. I'm looking at a teleprompter. So I can put your face right in front of me. Right? And if your face is directly in front of me,
and I can stare right at your face, and right behind your face is the camera, then I'm talking to you, and it's much more personal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's little tricks like that. My first videos had none of that. My first
Right.
videos had none of that, and it's a matter now of going, okay, so I'm just going to start, and I'm going to grow it. I'm going to make it come about. And I'll tell you what my personal intention was when I started my YouTube channel.
Mm.
Thank you, God, for the opportunity to empower people all over the world. And that was basically it. I wanted the opportunity to empower people all over the world to step into their own divinity, right? Last week, I talked to somebody in Cambodia. I've talked to Serbia. I've talked to Croatia. I've talked to Australia, New Zealand, of course, South America, Iceland. I've talked to people all over the world. I did over 600 sessions last year.
Mm.
But that was my declaration. I am helping empower people all over the world. And that's what I believed. And then I just started doing the things in alignment with doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But I will tell you, the only thing that really grew it was putting myself out there in front of audiences, and specifically bigger YouTubers' audiences.
Mm-hmm.
You know, by putting myself there, I've tapped into their audience, and it grew the channel. I mean, the channel's not. I don't have a big channel, but in 2 years, it went from 0 to 21,000.
1,000. I saw that number today.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, it's a matter of you just deciding that you're worthy of doing it. That you have something that people want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe it's?
I keep perfecting it. I've got several nice things to say, and like which one first, etc. kind of questions come up.
Just put it on the blank page and figure it out as you go. I'll tell you something else about YouTube. Nobody will see your first videos. You'll get my first videos on my channel have like 25 or something like, it's like,
Same from, I have one video with over 1 million views on it.
Wow.
And yeah, and so I made a whole new channel and they all have 0 views, like the same content.
Wow.
Not the same, related content.
Well, I'll tell you what, my friend, I don't have one with 1 million views.
Yay.
So you've beaten me. Right? So
on a per one video basis, but
that's all it takes. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Right. The question is, what about that one video made it go viral? What was it about? What was it titled?
Marble track 2 almost finished. I made a rolling ball track, and I might have kicked off a whole storm of marble track videos on YouTube. But I had created a rolling ball track with marbles going down the thing. Very unprofessionally done. I said the word fuck a few times. And
Nice.
And I'm now making a project, Marble Track 3, because people were like, well, how did you make this thing? It's amazing. I said, well, you put down I have an idea. And I have making a stop motion video of characters making a marble track.
Yeah.
And I started live streaming me making the characters, so it like meta all the way back. And now that project is a little bit stalled, but I still love the project. I love the idea.
Yeah.
And I have that at my apartment in Japan. And then there's a belief that, it'll never make money, all this kind of thing. Yeah. And it's just a lot of time sink.
If you kept doing it, let me give you an example.
Yes.
Alex Ferrari.
Yes.
He's got over 700,000 subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He makes between $50,000 and $60,000 a month off of ad revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Right? His videos are, hi, I'm talking to you on a Zoom call.
Yeah, I've watched many of his videos, and that's how I found yours, actually.
It's not really a technically beautiful film. And the thing is, he's a filmmaker. Right?
Yeah. What bugs me is he says, don't you think, instead of asking him the question, he says his own side. I'm like, stop doing that.
Oh, I
Let him
don't mind what he
talk.
did. I don't mind he does it because if I disagree, I'll tell him.
That's well, good. Thank you.
Yeah, I just no, I don't think so because of this.
Yeah.
I only speak my truth, and if somebody else tries to inflict theirs upon me, right? I don't. I can't
Yeah.
sway from my own truth. That's the other thing about Barefoot Rob is that your authentic self is what people want to see.
Right.
And the fact that your first video said fuck a few times, it was raw, it was
Yeah.
authentic, it was real.
Right. Right.
And so that video became very digestible because
Mm.
they could relate to what was going on.
Yeah.
So be you to your fullest, my friend, and put it out there. And now with this new intention of I'm going to empower as many people as I possibly can.
You just said it the wrong way. I'm gonna.
Right.
I thankfully.
Right.
What is it?
Well, yeah. Well, I'm saying it
Yeah.
too. I'm saying it to you. I
Yeah.
am
Right.
empowering. Right.
I am empowering.
Good catch on though. I'm glad you caught
Yeah.
me. That's good.
Thank you. Thank
Good
you.
catch. The
I've
key
been
really
trained
is
well.
is you coming to a place of catching yourself, right?
Yes.
And that's really the
Yes.
key is what am I believing about my present moment? Your subconscious mind drops out of your mouth all day long. And that boat analogy I told you, it talks about, what do you believe about this precise moment?
Mm-hmm.
That is the key. What are you believing about this precise moment? And if you believe it's not ready yet, or it's not perfect yet, or I'm not worthy to. These are all just present moment declarations that are lacking and not in motion at all. They're stagnation is what they
Mm-hmm.
are, right? Put yourself out there.
Let me check if I got this right. So right now I can say I am living in Bondi Beach. I am enjoying.
Is
It's at the
is
same
that
time that's stagnant.
is that where you want to live, or is that where you are right
Uh,
now? I'm just
I
I'm,
don't have a preference. I
I'm just trying to
am,
I'm just trying to get
yes.
clarity. Do you live
Okay.
in Bondi Beach right now?
Because, yes,
Okay, and you love being there, and you want to stay there?
not saying that. I'm
Okay,
here as my girlfriend is here,
okay,
and I'm enjoying living in an English speaking culture
sure.
where hugs are the norm.
Uh,
And I am, I want is what comes out. Like I
it's
want
okay. No,
the
don't.
option to live in the North Hemisphere and the South, and in summer on both sides, move back and forth and
Yeah,
enjoy the
yeah.
summer.
There's no reason why you can't.
And
I am joyfully
I,
receiving the opportunity to live on both sides.
mm,
I am, and then just start saying opportunity. You hear me? I keep saying
yeah,
opportunities, right?
opportunity. Yes.
I am joyfully receiving an opportunity. Now, what happens if tomorrow you get a phone call saying, "Hey, I caught your marble video, and I need you to come here and build one every winter for the next 10 years"? Right?
Right.
Right? I mean, it sounds like a ridiculous statement, right? But when you think of it from the perspective of there's nothing that's impossible for you. Bible
Hmm.
says it clearly. It says you can ask a mountain to move and it'll move. Nothing's impossible for you, right? It's
I've wondered how a mustard size, mustard grain size faith. What is that?
yeah,
Is
faith as small as a mustard
intellectual
seed. You can ask a
mustard
mountain.
seed.
Yeah, mustard seed, right? To me, it's just it comes down to simple. What do you believe? Bible also says when you pray, believe you shall receive, and you shall. And it's your faith that heals you. And Shakespeare said, "There's nothing good nor bad, but thinking makes it so."
Mhm.
Descartes said, "I think, therefore I am." And Krishna said, "You're the culmination of your thought." And Buddha says, what you think you become, you create your world." Right?
Yes.
What they all don't say explicitly is what you think about this moment, what you think about now. But if you think about now for a second, you can't go to the store next Thursday right now, and you can't go
Correct.
to the store last Thursday right now. You will only live the present moment for the rest of your life. It's just what are you doing with the present moment? And then that water is going to come to your boat. depending on what you're living in the present moment, what you're believing in the now.
Mm.
And so just pay attention to what you're believing in the now. And when you find something that doesn't resonate, or it's not what you are desiring to create into your life, then say, no, I'm not doing that. I am doing this.
Mm.
Right? You just completely redirect it until it's habitual. I mean, did you see the video I did on the translation of the Buddhist quote, "Life is suffering"?
Possibly. Not today, but possibly.
Yeah. So when they translate it correctly from Pali to English, the actual translation is not "life is suffering." It's "life is suffering because of our habitual response to our past experience."
Mm.
And so it's a matter of changing the habit. Now, habit is changed scientifically, they say somewhere between 21 and 60 days of repetitive action. So consciously catching yourself and changing and redirecting for 21 to 60 days, you're changing the habit of thinking about that lack, and you're putting this new habit of believing you're receiving and creating and enjoying.
Mm.
So it's a matter of making sure that you're catching those phrases. In Star Wars, Yoda said, "Named must your fears be, before banish it you can."
I
Right?
haven't seen that one.
Yeah, named must your fears be, before banish it you can. He also said, "Fear leads to the dark side."
Mm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you're afraid it's not perfect, right? That's a fear, really.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Perfectionism. Put it out. Did you ever see the book called Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Yes.
Okay, so they're interviewing Robert Kiyosaki about that book. He says, "I wrote the whole book." He says, sent it to my editor, and my editor completely reworked it. And then we tested it with an audience, and it got nothing.
Mm.
He says, so we went back to the original text before he edited it, back to when it was all still me and my normal raw self. And the book sold millions and millions and millions of copies.
Mm. That's nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So put yourself out there, flaws and all, boils and all, right?
Mm. We say that in the men's group
Yeah.
as well. Just be authentic.
Well, if you look at the 1400 channel, there are several videos on my channel where I'm angry, and you don't see them very often. But you know, somebody they'll get me on one of those days where I've worked a 90-hour week, and somebody will come on and call me the Antichrist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you know, how dare you make money and have a roof over your head? You know, and I'm like, it just, and they just get me at one of those moments. So, because to be here in the physical, you're going to have those moments. The key is to make as few as possible.
Mm-hmm.
How you feeling, Rob?
Curious about the habit of noticing my belief in this moment. This is something I tend to wonder what that means. And
Can I give you a tool? Can I give you an easy tool?
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah.
For me, it was I had to declare a bunch of red flag words.
Mm-hmm.
Wanting, needing, hoping, trying, wishing, can't, how, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every time I'd say one, I would literally, well, let me tell you when I first started doing it, I'd go, I want. Oh, why did I say want? I'm so stupid. And I beat myself up, right?
Mm.
And then I realized if I'm the creator of my experience, then want is just silly. It's just goofy, right? Because I can create anything. Why would I want to create want, right? So what I started doing was going, I'd say, I want. No, I don't want. I am joyfully receiving.
Mm.
Now, why does this work on a scientific level? Very easily. The conscious mind creates the subconscious mind because the subconscious mind is just a collection of conscious moment memories.
Mm-hmm.
And so the conscious mind is infinitely more powerful than the subconscious. So by literally saying, no, I'm not doing that, and right now it's 4:44. I don't know if numbers mean anything to you or not, but it just turned 4:44. So yeah, 4:44 means a lot to me. So obviously this is good. So The I by turning and laughing at it, number one, but by consciously saying no, my conscious mind is more powerful than the subconscious, so that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Second part is I'm laughing at it. Every one of those lacking beliefs has a fear associated with it.
Mm-hmm.
And every fear stores air in the lungs because it's our primal response. When something fearful happens, we go, oh, right? And we fill our lungs up, right?
Yeah.
A laugh is a joyful exhale. So I'm turning around and I'm saying no, and I'm joyfully exhaling, laughing at it, right? But so I'm releasing the fear associated with it. At the same time, I'm saying no. And then again, simultaneously, I am creating a laughing present moment, which is awesome, right? And then I'm turning and I'm saying I am joyfully receiving, and I redirect it to this beautiful, joyful moment, adding the word joyful, right? Now I've got a laughing moment, I've got a joyful moment, and I got a negative moment that I just negated. These two moments
Nice.
get dropped into my subconscious mind and become part of my past. And my subconscious mind starts to get filled with more positive than negatives. And it's the same as meditation. People who meditate, most people don't think they can. And the reason is because they quiet their mind, and then a thought will pop in, and they'll push it aside. They'll quiet their mind. A thought will pop in. About the fifth or sixth time, they say, "I can't meditate. I'm done." But everybody who meditates know they go through the exact same process. They just keep doing it until the quiet times last longer. Right? It's the same thing with subconscious belief. Keep pushing the subconscious away until the joyful times last longer. So it literally is an exercise of, for the next 3 weeks minimum, I'm going to pay attention to what I'm saying about my conscious present moment. And if it's not to the liking of what I'm creating or in alignment with what I'm creating, I'm going to negate it. I'm going to laugh at it. I'm going to redirect it. I just keep doing that until you now have the habit of that positive thinking. Is that a usable tool?
Probably. I think I'm quite. I am quite an optimist. I can give a litany of positive things that I'm experiencing and joy and gratitudes.
Yeah.
And as I share gratitudes,
make it as simple as possible, Rob. Make it as simple as possible. One of the things that came out of my regression, it's one of the foundational stones of everything I believe. It's so simple, we have a hard time comprehending it. Make it as simple. If it doesn't feel good, God speaks to us in feelings, not thinkings. So if it doesn't feel good, then it's not for you. Redirect it, go to something else. And you'll create a life surrounded by beautiful things that you love the feeling of. Makes sense. You're quite welcome. I do have to go because I have another one coming up after you. But before we go, I want to read this again. Do you mind? Mind if I read this?
I don't mind.
Okay, good.
Joyfully receiving.
And so I love that. I also, before I read this to you, I want to remind you that you're going to get the recording about 10 minutes after we're done.
Okay.
And it's going to come from WeTransfer. And
yes.
You know
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, it's only on there for 7 days, so make sure you download it. All right, so here we go. There is no path ahead. The path is formed behind you as you place your foot. Where you place it is up to you. Asking for help is placing your foot in lack. And so lack is what you experience. You and God/universe are one and interconnected. You are the inspiration. God is the paintbrush and the canvas. Nothing goes on the canvas without your thoughts, words, and deeds. You start the creation by declaring it into your now. It's your choice to receive. Until you believe you are, you sit in lack. Let go of asking an external God and start declaring from your oneness with God, declaring in full faith that it is happening. Your part is to declare and welcome it into your present. Take the next step. Well, your name must have affected the talk by taking steps and your foot. And
Yeah.
So, so it's been,
Okay.
Rob, this has been lovely. I hope it's been a good experience for you.
Thank you, John. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, well, great. It's been wonderful. And you know about the videos, so I don't have to do that spiel now. So,
Okay.
all right. Thanks,
Yes.
Rob. Have a great day.
Thank you. Be well. Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.